Welcome to tonight's soon-to-be frigid and snowy edition of the Klown podcast. I'll explain it in a minute. I'm Scott Burks. Hello. My co-host Wayne Nash, who's bending down to pick up some off the floor. Please check her out on the yard. That's HCU Sports. As where he follows all things HCU Sports. You see the website on the backdrop there, as well as Sleazy Radio every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. Please check him, the coach, and the crew, and Sweet Lou out as well. And last but not least, his great work on herosports.com. He writes about all things FCS athletics as it pertains to HCU sports. And me, I recently started writing again. Who knew? On my blog, The Klown Times. That's www.theklowntimes.net. I broke out my slumber somehow. But anyway, you can find me on Facebook as well, on your laptop, desktop, smartphone, wherever you may be. Just type it in. You find me there as well. And last but not least, well, two things. Please see the like, comment, and subscribe. Put a few more subscribers this week. So please keep the party going. So please keep going.
I'll say this, Scott, real quick.
Yes,
yes, I've received a lot of feedback from my rant from last week.
Your apology.
Yeah. I've received a lot of feedback from the apology. And yeah, it's funny. Having a conversation about the apology. It's still a little bit left in the tank. I'm sorry. It's his fault. He should have never done it. And I know today ain't the day for that.
Sure.
But it'll come back soon enough.
Yeah,
it's a little bit left in the tank.
That was one of the funniest moments in this podcast.
That was good.
I've been doing this shit for like 3 or 4
well
years.
done.
That was one of the funniest moments I've ever experienced. But anyway, so please, that's why you gotta like, comment, and share, because shit like that, it crops off. But anyway, one more thing. Speaking of which, get the merch, please.
Get the merch.
CafePress.com. Search for the Klown Time Sports. The actual address of the location where you can get such merch, as well as Dwayne's great work, will be in this description when I upload this puppy to YouTube tomorrow. So you can find that there as well. So you see my guest in the upper left-hand corner. Wave to the camera. And Brett Brother in the house, 858 till we die. Because the man's team did what not many people, even some people in this great city of Cincinnati. Oh, and my man doing out there too.
He's I'm not gonna lie. No, I drank that red and yellow Kool-Aid. I was like, especially after what happened in Buffalo, I drank the Kool-Aid.
Hey man, hey.
But Andy Reid it again. He's starting to reverting back to being Andy Reid again. But you know what? It's a combination of him, and we saw something out of Patrick Mahomes that I didn't think I would ever see.
He got scared. He got
shook.
Scared and confused.
Yep. He got shook.
And was trying to look for the home run, which I understand is something they live over. But you're inside the 10. Inside the 10. Go for the simple stuff. Stop trying to go for the home run.
And that's what got me. And by the way, Andre Edwards is back. He's going to talk his shit again because his team won. The Bengals did their thing. But yeah, going back to that play, what really got me, because this one of those things, I was watching this with my wife and our son. Like, our son is getting into sports now. He's becoming more curious. So he was watching. We had a spread full of junk food. We talked about junk food off there earlier. And my wife, she loves everything about her city, obviously, right? Even though she's not the biggest sports fan, ever since she's met me, she's getting more and more into it. But anyway, she's there, more hyper than I am. She's like, she was like, what is Kansas City doing? Why aren't they going for points? I'm like, I'm trying not to cuss in front of my son. I'm like, they could get the fucking field goal. Because they had no timeouts. Y'all remember what it was. They're on the 3-yard line, whatever the hell it was.
I have the breakdown of what happened here.
Okay.
Right here already lined up.
Yes, sir.
You want me to go to the first half or the second half? Because let's not forget the end of the first half, the debacle that they had, where they're deep within the 5.
Right.
They have how many timeouts left when they're inside the because of that penalty, they don't have any timeouts left. Right. They get down to the 1-yard line with 9 seconds left, and they throw an incomplete pass, and they still have 5 seconds left, you know what? Take the points. But they go for a pass play anyway, and for whatever reason, Tyreek Hill, who's been running his mouth off to Eli Apple during before the game, apparently didn't want that smoke when he tried to run the ball into the end zone. He tried to hit him with a lackadaisical spin move that didn't work. And you got stopped at the 1, and that's how the first half ends. And I'm like, dude, what is this? But they're up 21-3, so I don't think too much of it. But I do look at it
21-10 at that point.
21-10
at
at
that point. Yeah.
Was it 21-10 at the halftime?
Yeah, it was 21-10.
Bengals just scored a touchdown, and Kansas City drove back down. They had like a minute left, or a minute and some change left to drive back down the field. So here's my take on that play.
Okay. It's
pure and utter arrogance. That's what that play is, right?
Yeah.
It's we've done absolutely everything that we wanted to do. We've had the ball on 3 possessions, this one being the 4th, and we scored 3 touchdowns. And there ain't a damn thing y'all done to stop us this entire first half, right? So
and they weren't.
Let's go ahead, get this final touchdown, make it 28-10 going into halftime, and we get the ball first coming out of half. Again, y'all ain't stopped us. 35-10 ball game. I don't give a dang what you do for the rest of the game, right? So it's nothing but pure and complete arrogance. Justified arrogance based upon what had happened previously.
Sure.
But it's still arrogant.
Right.
Right? And it's extra arrogant to think that you can drop back and not just take a shot in the end zone. You're taking a shot at the 5-yard line, kind of like back behind the dude so he can, make a move in space. Let's be clear. The Eli Apple, and I don't remember who was behind him, but there was a second defender.
There's a safety back there, looked like, yeah.
That was coming pretty hard on that move too. So now you're expecting the cheetah to beat not only Eli Apple, who is right there, but a safety that's also coming. It's nothing but arrogance. Y'all can't stop us. We're going to do what we want to do anyway.
When at the attitude, the first meeting, I'm sorry, Andre, when at the first, because remember in the first meeting here in Cincinnati, when y'all clinched division, y'all were down 14 twice too.
3 times.
And 3 times, excuse me, and held
14-0, 21-7, 28-14.
Yep. And you guys held them to 3 points in the second half, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
and
sir.
the same thing happened in this game. Because I remember Jim Nance, when they being the Chiefs went brain dead right before the half and didn't take the points with poor clock management, I remember him saying this is the same margin that the Bengals trailed in the regular season. And the thing was, to your point, Andre, and Dwayne, you alluded to it, despite the fact that the Bengals had no answers for them in the first half, they were down by only 11.
Yep.
And I remember one of the young, I call them young men because all young, but one of the players said that was a momentum shifter for them.
Oh yeah.
Almost
that
definitely.
gave them confidence.
Like it changed the whole trajectory of the game. You went from this is over to wait a minute. And not only, wait a minute, but fellas, we've done this before. That's the halftime speech, right? Go back 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We were right here doing this exact same thing and we won the game. Let's just go do that again. Okay. Like you have belief now. It's you got buy-in. You've got a defense that says, all right, let's just give Joe a chance. We can come out and get this first stop in the second half and let Joe go score. Let's go.
Right. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that first drive, 5 plays, punt.
Bruh, look here. 7 second half possessions, I think, including overtime. The results were punt, punt, interception, punt, punt, field goal, interception. Okay.
Number 1, right?
My wife,
applaud Dre for remembering that, because I have that in my hand right now to reference to make sure that I got it right. Dre remembered.
Because I was astonished. Like, are you kidding? I just kept waiting for, okay, the Bengals are creeping back. Okay, it's tied. Woo, we got the 2-point conversion to Trent Irwin of all people, who, let me tell you what, that dude hasn't run an offensive play all year. And
he was so wide open because he shook the guy who was an undrafted free agent. It was the undrafted free agent who was trying to cover him. He shook him somehow.
No, he's got 2 ones on his chest. We don't need to worry about him.
Right.
No, he's good. Don't worry about that dude. He means nothing.
Speaking of people not to worry about, of course, as soon as he scored on this play, my thought was, I'm going to hear about this for the next 3 days. And sure enough, Samaje Perine, when he scored in that big run, I was like, yo, where was this? But I mean, what is the sun shines on the cat's butt at least once, right?
Hey, at least once,
right?
And that was that one time, and everybody's like, "Oh my God!" Well, the fans here, "Oh my God, why did we cut him?" Have you seen what Samaje Perine has done? Well, not only while he was here, but this past season in Cincinnati, he just had one big play. Hooray! It happens. It's not like he was their bell cow. If Samaje Perine was running for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, then I'd be like, oh my God, why did Washington let this dude go? No, he only put up 200 yards during the year. Shut up. Shut up.
So his role is essentially, he's the third down pass protection.
Yeah.
Like that's
he's a big body dude.
Yeah, yes. Big body dude, right? And he and Joe Mixon played at Oklahoma together. So, that's essentially his role. So you're not going to see big production from him typically. But you look at dudes who made a difference in this game for the Bengals, like everybody focuses on Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Jesse Bates, all those dudes, right? And deservedly so. But when you look at guys who made an impact in this game, number 11 on the 2-point conversion, BJ Hill with a tip pass interception. Let me be very clear. BJ Hill was traded for right before the season began. So he didn't go through training camp. He's not a free agent signee. We traded our first round pick from 3 years ago, Billy Price, to the Giants and said, hey, give us this dude who can't even get on the field for y'all. We appreciate it. This center can't get on the field for us. We did a swap. BJ Hill, what? Eli Apple, thrown away from multiple teams. All my old State friends can't stand him. He's trash. He's this, he's that. He may be the biggest tackle of the entire game. Samaje Perine, to your point, all the Washington fans, where was that, and who is this, and that, this, that, and the other. Like, he's the backup to Mixon, making a 41-yard touchdown run. Like, there were so many plays by that you just don't hear from or just don't know, and it was awesome.
Yeah. It's not about how many times you make a play. It's about when you make the play. And they made the plays when they needed to make them in the biggest game in this franchise's history over the past 30 years, most definitely.
Yeah. And the way my wife screamed when your boy had a tip interception
and was running, which one?
Just chucking it back.
Fat boy or the one?
Yeah, the fat boy.
BJ Hill. Boy.
And the thing was, man, I was like, I'm sitting there watching like, what? Talking about that word, momentum. I'm like, if y'all score, I was telling my wife this, if y'all score,
it's on.
It's on. It's on. And that's what it was. But I think because at that point, they scored a touchdown, the 2-point conversion, right? So that made it 21-18, if I recall.
21-21.
21-21. Okay, that's right, because it was 21-13 before that. Right. So that's when you heard the crowd go quiet.
Yeah.
Loud as Arrowhead Stadium could hear a pin drop.
Yep.
Oh, after what they saw last week, you would be shocked too.
Right.
Because now you're concerned. A team that we just saw put up as many points as they did in the last, 5 minutes of the game last week against that Bills defense, but the team that was ranked number 1 coming into the offseason and all statistical yards given up, points given up, and passing yards
all
given
across
up.
the board. Yep.
Yo, what's going on now?
Right.
They got punched in the mouth.
Yep.
That
I'm gonna say so. Halftime adjustments for the defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo.
Yes. Bravo. Bravo
like,
to him.
So he went from rushing 4 and 5 in the first half to rushing 3. And they rushed 3 on somewhere around 48% of the time in the second half. And what they did was they would line up as a front 4 and take one of those 4 at the snap and drop them back. So any of those quick routes that would, you get Cheetah in space, right? Coming across the middle, you get Kelsey in space.
Kelsey in space, yeah.
Nope. You got a dude standing right in that sight line following Mahomes' eyes, right? And then at a particular point in time, remember when you used to play backyard football and you couldn't blitz all the time, so you had to be like one
Mississippi, 2 Mississippi,
right? And then you could go on 3, right? That's exactly what that Bengals defender was doing. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. That route is now gone and out of my clear. Now I go.
Yeah.
And it just added a different dimension. So you've got 7 dudes on the back end guarding against 3 wide receivers. You got this one dude in the middle who's spying Patrick Mahomes and taking out anything that's going to be thrown underneath. And then you got 3 dudes who are beating, the 5 offensive linemen and at least keeping Mahomes contained so he can't get out and run.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful plan and it worked to perfection, mostly because for whatever reason, Kansas City decided to stop running the ball.
Yes. That part. Andy Reid. You said
dumb.
Andy Reid being Andy Reid from Philadelphia.
It was dumb.
Had Brian Westbrook in Philly all those years, didn't use him in the playoffs. This time to run the ball well in the first half.
Yes.
And then for some reason, he's like, "No, we're not doing that anymore." So that bugged my mind too.
That's working. That's working way too well. Let's not do that.
Yeah, exactly. Because you run your way out of the zone. That's how you do it. You run your way out of the zone.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Right. And you would expect that coaching staff, especially that offense, wouldn't know that. But again, it leans back to what Dre just said. Arrogance. Yo, we've been doing this for past 10 weeks? One more week, one more half of, why not?
Right.
Yep.
Why not for one more half?
And I think it boils down to, I don't think they being the Chiefs, I don't think they really respected y'all.
No.
Even though y'all beat them to win your division early, really late in the season, right?
Yeah,
they didn't respect y'all. They didn't respect y'all.
But it took 11 catches, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Right.
We're going to change our game plan so that we take away Jamar Chase.
Right.
And that's all we need to do. As long as we take away Jamar Chase, we'll be fine. Because that's what beat us last time, right? If I'm Kansas City. That's what beat us last time was this dude having just an unworldly game. If we change our defensive strategy to just take him out of the game, we'll be fine. And then the next thing you know, T. Higgins has, 6 or 7 catches for 103 yards, and Joe Mixon runs for 88 yards. And I mean, switch it up if you want to, but then you just run into the biggest issue with stopping this Bengals offense. If you can't get Burrow on the ground, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
He's got too many weapons for you to, or you're gonna double T, you're gonna double team Chase. Well, then what you gonna do with Tyler Boyd and CJ Uzomah and Joe Mixon coming out of the backfield?
Yeah.
Speaking of CJ, I hope I know it's a sprained MCL. I say just right. Sprained MCL. He's been there through the lean years. He's one of the leaders. He was crying. I felt really bad from the first half because he's like,
dude, I thought he tore his ACL.
I thought so too, where he was crying because I'm thinking, I'm in his head at this point. He's been there throughout the bullshit, the lean years. He's got a chance now to play in the game to go to the Super Bowl. and he can't do it. It's out of his hands.
He suffered a major injury before, so he knows what that pain feels like, right? Yes, it's a different body part. He tore his Achilles, but football players, like, look, I know, that kind of hurt a little bit. I'm gonna be okay. I think I can work through it. Oh shit,
yeah,
that's not good. Like, that ain't good. That's not good. And you could just tell in that moment in time, he felt this ain't good, and I'm not gonna be here. And I honestly was concerned at that point in time because CJ is the heart of this team, right?
Yes.
We give a lot of praise to Burrow. Burrow is the head of the squad, and everybody follows him. CJ Uzomah is the heart of this team. And to watch him go off and be carted off the field, I was like, that's not good.
Yeah.
But,
you know what? It was at that moment, like you said, and like we said earlier, those guys who we didn't expect to make plays saw that and said, you know what? We can't do, or we can't be passive in this situation. We got to make plays whenever given the opportunity. And that's exactly what they did.
And good for them. And you know what, man? Y'all been a great story this year. And Dwayne, let me just say this. This is, I have, as you know, my wife's from here. 90% of her relatives still live in the city, right? And so a lot of her childhood friends, either they moved back here or they stayed here. So it's typical Midwestern town, right? People either come back or stay. That's just how it is. When I tell you that I never seen or heard about grown men crying after that game, because let's just say this, man, because Cincinnati's first Super Bowl came when we were children.
Oh, yeah.
And not many of us remember that. Like, I hate to throw in my Steelers, for example, but we made a point on the previous podcast, the first 4 Super Bowls, I was either not even born,
right,
a baby, or a toddler. When they won Super Bowl, whatever the hell it was, 14 in 1980, well, in the 1979 season, I was a preschool. I was a toddler, like 5, 6-year-old toddler. I don't remember that.
Right.
Which meant that when we won Super Bowl 40, that was my first time really remembering and watching it.
Yeah.
I didn't cry, but I acted a damn fool.
Yeah.
So taking that to example, with Who Dey Nation, the first Super Bowl, we were children, 1981. We were children. We were real small children, right?
Oh, yeah.
In 1980,
I vaguely remember that Super Bowl.
Yeah. We were on our way back from Florida and from seeing my mom's relatives. And I remember we had a small Cobra TV in the car. You plug into the smoke baby. Yeah. And it was a black and white. We turned it up so my dad could hear it, but I still vaguely remember it, if that makes any sense. So we watched the Super Bowl going back from Florida in 1981. But I still didn't know what the hell was going on. But then 1988, though, when they played Sanford again, we were either in junior high or high school. I was like maybe a freshman in high school, sophomore in high school.
I was 12.
But still, we were children. We were still children. We weren't adults. We were children. So to see now all those decades of heartbreak to this point, we're now in our 40s. We got men and women, but mostly men in their 40s who remember, who were children like we were during the Bengals heyday in the 80s.
Yep.
So that was like 40 years ago, almost.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is crazy, right? But it's just 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago. And now we as adults, middle-aged adults, if you could believe that too, or damn near middle-aged, they're now back in the Super Bowl after 30 some odd years. Grown men were crying, including some of my wife's relatives, so I know very, very well. And it's I would say the city would be more lit if it went for COVID and cold as well.
Yeah.
Because speaking of what I said, the frigid edition of the podcast earlier, we're supposed to get a bad snowstorm tonight, leading into tomorrow. and through Friday. So
yeah.
Star share that. So we're all inside. We're indoors. And we can't really go out and. I heard some fireworks.
I got all my toilet paper and milk and eggs, and we good. We good.
Yeah, I got a lot of those. I'm gonna go to the store tonight after this podcast and get some more shit because I found one for the local Kroger here. But at any rate, long story short, I just think it's a very cool moment for the city.
It is.
I remember, Dre, you mentioned when we were talking about UC making the college football playoff, how it felt. Finally, how you get the idea of how it feels being a major city who's used to professional sports success.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, well, first from UC making the Kraken being the first group to crack the college football playoff and not being embarrassed when they played Alabama. They didn't get embarrassed.
So this is the first, I believe I have this correct. Cincinnati is the only city to have a football team in the Final Four of the playoffs and a team in the Super Bowl in the same year.
Oh yeah. That's easily the first. I mean, if you look at the other universities and the cities that they're in,
right,
they're not major cities.
They want horse towns.
Well, you got to think but back in the 80s, you could have had the Dolphins and the U.
Right.
You know.
Pitt used to be really good in the 80s.
LA,
Pitt,
USC and LA teams. So I mean, there have been opportunities from a city standpoint, meaning they have a big enough program from a college perspective and also a pro team.
Right.
Oh, of course.
So the opportunity has been there, but I believe Cincinnati is the first city to actually have, a college team in the playoffs, in the final playoffs, and then professional team going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which would be cool. Now I would say this, man. And Dre, you could take a wheel on this if you want. Actually, I encourage you to take the wheel on this one.
Please.
If they do the, I think I wouldn't be shocked if Cincinnati finds a way against the Rams. As powerful as the Rams are, as legit as the Rams are, I wouldn't doubt it they find a way against the Rams. I would say this. I know some people here was saying, what if the 49ers held on and have a 49ers Bengals Super Bowl Part 3? That would be bananas. But anyway, it would have been a better matchup too. But anyway, I wouldn't put past me to see the Bengals shock the world again. And I think it's very possible that they would. Now, I would say this. Now, if that were to happen, as crazy as it's been here, given the weather, given COVID, I'd be afraid to go outside.
Wouldn't even matter. It wouldn't even matter. Wouldn't even matter.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Even matter.
It would not matter.
I hope you have your shots.
Yeah, right.
We reduce them effects.
Yeah, straight up.
It wouldn't even matter.
Yeah. I'll be out there too. I'll be real. I will be out there. I will be down on.
It's something to experience. It's an experience, right? I mean,
yes.
You don't get to experience this, as far as I'm concerned, ever.
Right.
But like, there's only 32 teams in the league, and only a handful of them have been dominant enough to really be able to do this.
And it's very hard in the NFL, as we know, because parity.
Man,
parity's
a beast.
It's real.
It's a beast.
That's the fun part, right? They say it's parity, but if you really look at it, it's kind of been like one team and then a couple of other teams sprinkled in occasionally.
I mean, over the past 20 years. Been the team that Tom Brady's the quarterback of. And then,
and then, okay, all right, it might be them, it might be. But to say, when you say parity, there's still like about another 20 to 25 teams where I'm like, every year, they ain't got no chance for real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cute to say that they do, but they really ain't got no chance.
But let's be real. Up until a year ago, that was the Bengals.
Exactly. But this is why I feel the way that I do about this Bengals team, because no one saw this coming. Hell, I didn't see this coming, especially the way that they
didn't see this coming.
So, I mean, I think we started the season on this podcast, and I think I had them going like 8 and 9, 9 and 8, like somewhere in that general vicinity. They won 10, so I mean, I wasn't like ungodly off, but I certainly didn't envision playoffs.
Yeah.
I didn't envision playoff run.
No.
And I for damn sure didn't envision Super Bowl appearance.
So, this entire run, I don't know if you guys have seen the clip yet, but Dan Orlovsky, of course, is loving this because he legit said during the offseason, like in July, August, that if you give Joe Burrow a defense, if you would have put him on the Steelers, they would most definitely go to the Super Bowl because he's a Super Bowl caliber QB. And Stephen A. and Woody, they laughed him off the show. And of course, they brought it back up this week to throw back in their face.
He did a victory lap.
Of course, he's most definitely did a victory lap. So you got Dan Orlovsky doing victory laps, and you have the DC sports pundit saying, if I don't want to hear any more excuses of rebuild and the fact that it takes 3 to 4 years to rebuild. The Bengals did it. Why can't we?
Yeah. And
so now you're going to have a bunch of teams in the league that think that way, even though they don't have the front office or the talent to even to even overcome these types of situations. So yeah, now everybody most definitely is believing, yes, we can.
Yeah. Look, man, the key to it all in today's NFL is finding you a quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear about this. I mean, the Bengals have some major deficiencies. That offensive line is terrible.
It's offensive,
truly
offensive.
It's terrible. We are less than 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl, and they were rotating right guards in the previous game. And that was part of the plan. It wasn't because somebody got hurt. It wasn't because, whatever. No, they were like, you go in there for a little bit. Okay, that's not working. Okay, you go in there for a little bit. Okay, that's terrible. Okay, you go back in there. Dang, no, that's still awful. Okay, now you just get back in there because that dude was just too awful to put back in the game. Like, that's where we are. But it's such a quarterback-driven league, and Joe Burrow is so good that offensive line issues that would cripple most teams, he's like, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. And he's done that.
And he's done it.
Yes.
Like, it's unreal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unreal. Like, Chris Houston had that dude dead to rights.
He did.
Like, almost took his head off dead to rights. Spun out of that, then had the nerve. Houston's chasing him, had the nerve to turn around and look back and do a little skip so he wouldn't get his feet, and then go run for a first down. Like, what is happening?
Had the football out like this at the first down marker, went out of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, an ordinary, regular, run-of-the-mill quarterback, that's not happening. And unless you have that dude, you can forget it.
Yeah.
And see, to that point, right? Half the league is still is in search of a quarterback right now, right?
It's probably more than that.
No,
it's probably more than half.
I would say, right, they're of the 15 or 16 that I think that aren't searching, they're still wondering if the current guy they have, who's a young guy in most cases, is that guy or not. So they at least have somebody on that wing. There's 15 to 16 teams where you're like, yo, they're like Humphrey the Bear from the Disney cartoons. They're looking for their QB. And I was just I was debating with some people earlier today where they were saying that Jimmy G is being sought after by 10 teams. You know what? I'm like, okay, all right, maybe 6, but Jimmy G, have you seen this dude play? Really? And they think that he's the answer? Are you kidding me?
But he can get my team to an NFC Championship game.
But yeah, if you have the Niners defense,
a few years past,
absolutely. Yeah. But you can look. Don't get me caught up in the details.
Logistics.
Yeah. Okay. I don't need your facts. So that's not what I'm here for.
I'm sorry. I'm just a line ass, you know.
I can tell you, Jimmy G took San Francisco to the championship game, and he can do the same thing for my team.
And that's the legit argument I've been hearing. I'm like, yo, okay, that defense though, George Kittle though,
Debo Samuel.
Debo, I was getting to him, Debo Samuels though, and the infamous Shanahan run game.
Yeah.
If you got all of those, then yes, okay, I might believe you. But no, I know you don't have those, because if you did,
what are those?
the quarterback wouldn't be your issue, because you could do it with another bad QB.
Right.
Jimmy G ain't gonna be the answer to that. It's just that Jimmy G's is gonna be another mediocre QB to come in. But yeah, that's the whole point. If you could go ahead and get you know what? What you're not gonna do? What you're not gonna do? Right. I am a
besmirch the good name of Kirk Cousins.
What you're not gonna do, not in front of me.
Don't besmirch that name
of Kirk Cousins, right? Because I am a Kirk Cousins apologist. I will say that, and I will say that they did that dude wrong when he was here. And what else is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
But take the tag money. What else is he supposed to do? He wanted 19. You didn't want to give him 19 because you didn't think 19 was what he was worth when the market was 25, 26, heading up to 30. And all he wanted was 19. Nah, you ain't want the 19. But now you got to give him 35 now. And now he don't want to stay because he knows you're not going to give him the extension. And he's still, in spite of what was going on here in this organization, was still playing well. Then he goes to Minnesota, who all of a sudden, they have a run game, right? And now Cook can't stay healthy. And then that defense, which was stout, falls apart. And everybody wants to point the finger at Kirk. Yeah, I know Kirk doesn't play 100%, but he's better than Jimmy G. I know that much. I'll go ahead and say that right. He's better than Jimmy G. And if you could go ahead and put Kirk in a Jimmy G type situation, well, you know what? I say that knowing he had that situation when he was in Minnesota. Let me stop before I sound dumb. I was just about to say something real dumb, and I know that's a lie. Come on.
Hey, let me ask you this, man. Let me ask y'all this. I'll throw it to Dre first, and if you want.
Dre have it. Yeah.
For the Bengals to take down they're not heavily favored yet, but a stout, powerful Rams team with that pass rush, with that secondary. Lord have mercy. And with a reborn Odell Beckham Jr. along with Cooper Kupp, by the way, on offense. Matthew Stafford shaking those Detroit Lions curses off of him. What do the Bengals have to do to keep the train rolling against a Rams team who I think on paper is the best team in football?
Really?
Right now.
Really?
I think so.
You realize that
on paper.
Now listen, you realize that same LA team you're talking about in like week 16, 17 beat a depleted Baltimore Ravens squad 20-19 without Lamar Jackson, the same defense that Joe Burrow lit up for 525 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They put up 20.
It's about matchups. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, brother.
So I mean, I'm not saying they aren't scary,
right?
Because they are. But if you're telling me my two choices are, I got to go into Arrowhead and play Patrick Mahomes with everybody essentially being healthy, or I got to go to LA during the Super Bowl, which, let's be clear, is going to be basically a neutral site. I mean, it's way too many corporate sponsors. It's way too much corporate. Like, there aren't fans there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just people.
And that's the thing about the Super Bowl. Like, yes, it's in LA. It's not the LA fan base. The me, you, and Dwayne going to buy tickets.
Yeah.
Because we're LA fans.
Right.
It's the corporate sponsors. It's the big money people.
I'm using somebody else's credit card to try to get us this week. I don't know if it's going to pass yet. I don't know if it's going to pass.
I'm just looking for that 3-digit pin. Just give me that. but so if you're giving me go into Arrowhead or go into essentially a neutral site game versus LA, I'm taking a neutral site game versus LA.
Sure. Sure, of course.
Just damn. So if you ask me what are the Bengals, like what's number one priority, and if we don't do this, we lost. You have to find a way to not let Aaron Donald ruin your day.
Yeah.
And that is one dude who can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like play after play after play after play, he can absolutely destroy any and everything that you're trying to do. I'm not worried about Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey can cover one person.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if he wants to take Jamar Chase, fine. We just saw what happened in Kansas City when they took Jamar Chase away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? T. Higgins went off. So Jalen Ramsey can pick his poison and cover whoever the hell he wants to. I got two other wide receivers, a tight end and a running back that he can't cover by himself.
Right. Facts.
You got Von Miller coming off the edge. I can always chip him with a tight end. I can always chip him with a running back to help, and I can rotate Burrows as a way to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that can be mitigated and worked around. I love me some Cooper Kupp, and I think he probably is the best wide receiver in the league right now. But he's very, very, very similar to a guy we just played in Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And had a very good plan for how to cover Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
OBJ, whether you want to compare him to, having another receiver like a Kelsey or, the other dudes that Kansas City has, he's probably a step above their receivers, but they don't have that intimidating tight end like a Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
So,
matter of fact, did they lose Higbee? Will Higbee be there next week?
He suffered the same injury that Uzama did, both MCL knee sprains. And it'll just depend on can either one of them get back in time for the game. It sounds, from what I've read, it sounds like Higbee's might be a little more severe than Uzama's is, but I'm not a medical professional. I don't pretend to know that. That's just stuff that I've read. So, if you're, number one, you have to find a way to not let Aaron Donald just destroy everything that you're doing. If you can find a way to do that, find a way to, I'm telling you, I would go back and look at that Baltimore tape, because Baltimore was covering Cooper Kupp with the same dudes that they try to cover Jamar Chase and T. Higgins with. And I want to say he had like 40 yards that game. So it can be done. It doesn't happen often because you catch 145 balls for damn near 2,000 yards. Like, it don't happen often, but it does happen. So let's figure out a way to mitigate that piece. Let's figure out a way so OBJ is not killing it. We got a really strong run defense. And let's be very clear, Matt Stafford is one for, he might give you a pick or two.
Yeah.
You think he has that history? Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Here in Detroit and in LA. So he's not afraid to let it rip. He's not afraid to trust his arm. That's where mistakes happen. And if you're giving me the choice between, do I want Joe Burrow to lead my team or do I want Matt Stafford to lead my team? I'm telling you today, I'm taking Joe Burrow today. So if you're in a league that's predicated on quarterbacks and who's the best quarterback to come into the game, Joe Burrow is the better of the two quarterbacks. I'll ride with Joe all day.
And you know who also agrees with you? Not to give you the kiss of death. Skip Bayless believes in Joe Burrow.
Okay.
He's his new Tom Brady now. He's his new Tom Brady. He's all about Joe Burrow. Not to give you the kiss of death, but that's Skip Bayless' guy now. But speaking not Tom Brady, yo, we all knew this day was coming, right? We all knew it.
Sooner than later. Yeah, five times always wins.
Right. We knew it was coming, but we didn't. It's like I knew it was coming,
not this
but
year.
I didn't expect it. If that makes any sense. And especially after the way he played this year. He was balling out. And so, which led me to reflect, man, the man played 22 seasons. We're not going to see that again, obviously.
No.
And he played in 10 Super Bowls. We definitely ain't seeing that again.
No.
So that's if you average that out of 22 seasons, that's almost a 50% clip.
Yeah.
That's almost a 50% clip. Every other year, on average,
he's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's in the Super Bowl.
But you know what? You can almost give him that 50% clip because one of those years he had the ACL tear.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that includes a whole decade of in between his third Super Bowl win and his sixth or fifth, fourth.
Yeah.
Sorry, fourth. So that includes that.
Right.
You gotta give it to him. I'm a Steelers fan. I hated him more in New England. More people hated him in New England and New England as well. But you gotta give the man props, man. I mean,
have to.
We witnessed greatness for 22 years.
Yep.
We're not going to see that again, gentlemen, because especially the way the quarterbacks we have out now, in the AFC alone, Burrow, Justin Herbert, Mahomes,
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Lamar Jackson. Yes.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. Yeah. And the same conference.
Right.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
In the same damn conference.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're not gonna. I mean, they're gonna cannibalize each other. We're not gonna see that again. And that's not to knock the Tom Brady for playing against in the weak ass AFC East. You play what you have in front of you. He ran into Peyton Manning. He ran into Ben Roethlisberger. He ran into Joe Flacco. I mean,
exactly right. So to your point, and everyone loves to point that out that. Oh my God, he played in a weak AFC East. Okay, during that 20-year run, name me the top 2 divisions that were playing in the NFL during that time frame, in your opinion.
The AFC North was one of them.
Okay,
and Baltimore and Pittsburgh going back and forth, killing each other. And then Indianapolis was, I mean, even though, well, hell, the AFC South at one point because you had Indianapolis, Jacksonville has a couple of good years. The Titans were okay. Then, with Deshaun Watson, if he ever gets out of trouble, his teams were balling out consistently. But I would say the AFC North and the AFC alone.
No, just entirely.
In general, okay, the AFC North, and I think the NFC South were tough a few years too, I think.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there to you. The team that he actually had the highest win percentage against that's not including the last 2 years in Tampa, but is it entire years in the league? Number 1 at the time was the NFC North, and I think number 3 was that super tough ass NFC West that had the Niners that were tough, the Seahawks that were tough. And that was really it. But yeah, you had the NFC West, I think was 3rd under the AFC East. But yeah, everyone, oh my God. But no, he still beat the hell out of the Steelers and the Ravens too. So, and let's not forget that fact. And then, of course, what he did to the Colts. So as dainty as the AFC East may have been, yes, he got to the playoffs by beating the East, but he got to the Super Bowls by beating the upper echelon of that conference.
Right.
So, I love it when people always bring that up. But he wasn't playing the damn Dolphins or the Jets in the playoffs.
Well, remember that the Rex Ryan years with my man Sanchez, but it was really the defense that beat them.
Yeah.
Like Darrelle Revis, Darrelle Revis, I should say, Antonio Cromartie. Bart Scott, remember? Can't wait.
Bart Scott, can't wait.
Yeah, that can't wait game. They had some great defense as well, but I mean, that was back when football. That's back before the rule change. The majority of the rule changes. It was defensive dominant.
Yeah.
The Patriots had a great defense themselves. People tend to forget that too. The Teddy Bruschi and all those cats.
I mean, look, they had more names on defense than they did offense most of the time.
Yeah. And Adam Ventura.
Outside of the year he threw to Randy Moss, you saw what happened when he got a real wide receiver. It was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, right.
50 freaking touchdowns.
50 touchdowns and he went 16-0.
That was stupid.
Oh,
that was
my
a stupid
God.
season right there. That was just, my God, man. They were just kicking everybody's asses. I think Bill Belichick was so mad at everybody else. They're like, F you. You kind of like the barbershop scene in Coming to America. F you. He just destroyed everyone except for the New York Giants.
Well, that's a whole different situation, right? Because that's the one way to beat them. If you can get you a front four that can just consistently put pressure on them, that's how you beat Tom Brady. I don't care where he played. That's how you beat him. And that's how he was beaten. And
that's the cool thing to me. Like D always likes to bring it back to Washington. I always like to bring it back to Cincinnati. That's what we all do. Yeah. That's the real cool thing to me about Joe Burrow. Right? The Tennessee Titans especially rushed that dude with 4 and gave him hell.
9 sacks.
Gave him the blues. 9 sacks. I think it was something like 13 or 14 hits, plus a bunch of other pressures. Like any typical quarterback, they're having a terrible day, and that team is not winning that game.
Right.
And yet that dude found a way to win.
Right. That's when you knew you had something special right there.
Just ridiculous.
They beat the hell out of that kid.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And he just got
the
back
hell
up.
out of him.
And the thing you admire, especially knowing he's the leader, the thing you admire is he got up, he walked off the field, sat down with his tablet, got with his coach, and was like, cool, let's figure this out. Come on, next play. Like, he's not screaming at offensive linemen. He's not slamming footballs on the ground. He's not cursing into the air because he's just pissed off. Like, none of that stuff happened. It's, okay, let's go back and go make this happen then.
Yep.
And let's figure it out.
Yeah. And he has so far. So, again, I know, again, because of death, Skip Bayless calls him Brady-esque, right? But it's like, damn you, Skip Bayless, now we're going to lose. But still, the point is I think the quarterback pool is so great in one conference alone. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And you know, and who's to say one of those young men would not surpass it? Who's to say that won't happen?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because greatness is greatness, right? If you got it, you got it, no matter your competition. But again, I'm appreciative of the 22 season Tom Brady played. I'm appreciative of the greatness. I love it. Doesn't matter who it is. I love greatness.
Yeah.
I appreciate greatness.
Yeah, I love to experience greatness. I mean, it gets monotonous,
right?
Sometimes, right? I mean, just because one, as fans, I would like to see my team have a chance to do something, right? Yeah. But so I think there's an element of, I'm just tired of seeing the same person or the same team or the same entity always be on top.
Right.
But there's still a certain respect level that is just like, man, everybody's given the same amount of money, the same number of draft picks within reason, you know, besides trades and comp picks, that stuff. But I mean, everybody's given the same amount of picks. Everybody's given the same number of players you're allowed to have on a roster, and they are just better.
Yeah.
They're just better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what excuse you try to line up for them. I don't. The thing is, you know what? They still found a way to win. They did. Whatever your feelings on Spygate and Deflategate, which never really was Deflategate for those who really want to investigate that situation. Sure. The dude who intercepted the ball, he was never interviewed during the whole deposition, and then said that, no one even questioned me about it, and the ball wasn't deflated. Right. Someone just thought that I said that it was, and it wasn't. So that's the whole other great defense that he played with. Oh my God, AFC East. Still 22 years for him to do what he's done, and none of the teams in the NFL in his entire career. I just looked this up while we talked about it. No one has better than a 50% win percentage against Tom Brady. And then there's 3 teams that have only 2 teams that have 50%. which is
Saints.
it's the teams that he really played. The
Yeah.
Saints, the Seahawks, and someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody else.
Shannon Sharp said it perfectly this morning on Undisputed. He said he's mad that he being Shannon Sharp is mad that no other team was able to retire him. He decided, I'm so tired of beating y'all. I'm going home.
I'm done.
I'm nothing to prove now. I've been beating y'all asses so many times. I'm chilling. I'm good. He walked away.
I'm gonna go be a dad and play with my kids.
I'm a walk away, not limp away.
Yeah, because he could have came back.
Yeah.
And
I mean, statistically, he had one of his best seasons, which is just ridiculous to say. Man played for 22 years, and he had one of his best seasons this year.
Yeah.
At 44 years old.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
At 44 years old. Yeah.
So
there are times in which he doesn't necessarily have anything else to prove. But it's not. I can believe you if you would have said a 44-year-old was the best person on this team or any team sport. Okay, I would take that. It would still be hard to swallow, but I'm like, okay, all right. But best in the league? Are you kidding me?
Easily could have been an MVP this year. Easily could have been an MVP this year.
He's most definitely in the debate. He's most definitely in the top 5 in that conversation. I don't know if he necessarily wins MVP for me, but he's definitely in that top 5 conversation.
Can I know this is your podcast, Scott.
No, go ahead.
Andy, but can I ask you guys a question?
Go ahead,
There was a question posed on Sports Talk around here of, is Joe Burrow today a top 5 quarterback?
Today?
Wow.
Today?
Wow.
Today. Is Joe Burrow a top 5 quarterback? And by that, if you say no, which is fine, name me the 5 ahead of him today.
See, that's what I got.
I'm gonna start by naming some outside of this young man first, so that'll help.
And I let me restate the question.
Okay.
Correct. With Brady retiring,
yes.
Okay.
Is Joe Burrow a top 5 quarterback today?
Right now.
In this league today. Yeah.
Well, shit. I mean, you have to consider him because you could rationally put ahead of this young man who's also a young man, Mahomes.
Okay.
He has trouble in the regular season. He has trouble against Justin Herbert for some reason. I know that it's like, it's an ultimate team sport. Football is ultimate team sport, right?
Yeah.
But it's a Herbert. He
only lost to Herbert once. The first time they lost to black dude.
Tyrod Taylor. Okay, I got
Tyrod Taylor.
My bad. But still, Justin Herbert with talent alone is up there.
So
Josh Allen's the real deal.
I'm asking you, who are 5 better quarterbacks than Joe Burrow? I'm not saying he might be, maybe I kind of sort of might take it. No, so 2 for me right off the top of my head: Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay,
those are 2
right now,
those are 2 on my list right now. Yeah.
Right.
I'll let Scott go first to see if he has 3 more. I think I have at least 2 more, but I'll let Scott go first.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers. This double check. Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen's that dude.
Okay.
Josh Allen's that dude. I didn't believe it at first. He's that dude.
I can take that.
Shoot. I'm going through my mental Rolodex right quick.
Mm-hmm.
If it ain't Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow is that number 4 guy. If it ain't Justin Herbert. So either way, the who round out the top 5 would be interchangeable between Burrow and Herbert. That's your 5. That's my 5 right now as we
see
speak.
what you got.
Okay, so we've already talked about Aaron Rodgers.
We'll give you the default too.
Okay, so actually this is where it gets cloudy, right?
Yes.
This is where Joe Burrow becomes in that mix. So like you said Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes in that top 2. Oh my God. After that, okay, Josh Allen is my number 3 right now, but that's still murky, right?
Yeah.
And then this is where it gets super cloudy. You start throwing out, as much as I hate to say this out loud, Dak Prescott, right? I legit just looked at, and I hate Facebook, but love them for the same time for this. When they give you your memories and they remind you of some of the dumb stuff that you said on Facebook. One of those that I said on Facebook was, "Oh my God, Skins fans are out here asking for us to get a QB like Dak Prescott." Ha ha ha. No, I want that QB now.
You would murder for
yo, with what? With what? Does it have to be a gun? Can it be a blunt object?
Right.
I would murder someone for some of the likes of a Dak Prescott right now. So you get Dak. Joe was in that conversation. A-Bear. Oh, I'm about to call him A-Bear. Herbert is in that conversation.
Yeah.
In that conversation, because of basically what he's done, when he's starting to falter. Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And then after that, but I don't even have Russ necessarily ahead of Joe. It's like, okay, what happens if you put Russ in another situation? Is Russ going to be the old Russ, or is he going to be the old Russ? Right. So that's where I'm kind of leaning towards that. And then after that,
where's
I didn't miss Lamar Jackson.
Where's Kyler Murray in anybody's list?
He's talented, but I have him below Joe.
He's not there yet.
I have him below Joe. And the bad thing is Joe, and not Joe, but Kyler had better veteran wideouts and probably did comparable, if not less, than what Joe has done in terms of output.
Mm-hmm.
Where we at with a healthy Lamar Jackson?
I forgot
that's
about
another
Lamar
one that's
Jackson.
in my mix, right? In terms of cloudy, right? Will we ever get Lamar back? Because we're starting to see this way too many times now. This is starting to become a pattern. Once is happenstance 2 times and more, it's a pattern. And it's starting to become a pattern with Lamar. And the one thing that a lot of people warned him about, and even wished that his former teammate, Brittle Bob, would have talked to him about, was, you might not want to run as much, dog. Look at what happened to me. And now he's starting to have more of those leg injuries. And he's starting to have, COVID, hopefully sooner or later that no longer becomes an issue. But he's starting to play less games. And if he can't stay on the field and be healthy and be consistent, then he has the talent to be there. But based upon what we've seen, because of his past and because of the fact that he was a league MVP once, he's one of those that's slightly above, but not really, right? So you can name out 3 names, maybe 4, and everyone else is right there along with him in that same vein of 4 or 5, where depending upon how they played that week and who they played against, Burrow can potentially get into that top 5 easily. Yeah, it's not out of the realm.
That's why I said the quarterback played in the NFC alone.
Yeah,
it's gonna be bananas. So
and then we still don't know what happens with the future of Aaron Rodgers and
Russell Wilson too.
And Russell Wilson, they can go over to the AFC as well,
right?
And potentially, will Russell get back to where he was about 2 or 3 years ago, and Aaron, if he can't get out of his own head, can take a team potentially to a championship game himself. But yeah.
And speaking of other teams that you mentioned, like one of our teams of this podcast, who recently undergone a change, the Washington Commanders. Now,
the Commandos. What'd you say? The
Commanders.
Commodores. Commodores. What's the name? The who?
Hey, you know what? I love and hate Facebook for the same reason Dwayne, and probably the same reason you, Andre, love and hate Facebook. Man, the internet is a trip. How about you had, like, to your point, Dwayne, earlier, the Cobra Commander.
The internet went bananas, son.
They went bananas with that. But I got to go ahead and shout out my man, Reese Waters, formerly of ESPN, PG County native here in the DC area, that first introduced that concept to me. And I said, even on my Twitter, you can check my Twitter, back in January the 10th, if the name becomes the Commanders, Reese, you just gave me an idea, and I had a gift of Cobra Commander, and I was thinking, do that in burgundy and gold, I'm gonna be that idiot wearing a Cobra Commander mask, either the metal one or the cloth one, either or, with the W right there on the forehead, cheering my team on. And then, of course, it became a joke, and I still don't care. I'm still going to do it because I find it entertaining, and I enjoy G.I. Joe, and I enjoy Cobra Commander. So one up on you, Bammers. Y'all gonna be madder at me when I take this thing and make this thing funny, and y'all gonna be annoyed, especially when this team with a name that y'all don't like starts beating your team. It was already bad enough when the team that had no name was beating your team. Cowboys fans and Raider fans and the 14 teams that they actually beat with no name. But I digress. God, like you said, social media has been a thing. I've been trying to avoid the whole Commandos joke, the no underwears joke, Cobra Commander joke.
Someone on Facebook just said, one of my boys from college said, and I quote, "Y'all going to see football players in Washington go Commando." I was like, how long did it take to come to someone to come up with that?
Themselves. They really do.
It writes themselves, but I'm like, yo, okay, all right. All right, it's funny for about like a second, yo. I've already heard the same. You repeating the same joke, dude. It's like a Kevin Hart joke that got real popular, and everybody's saying it the same day. Okay, yeah, say it with your chest. Okay, we got it. It's funny. Oh, my bank account set up. Yeah, we know. All right, your bank account is set up a certain way. Fine, ha ha ha. We get it. But I'm like, man, the amount of fans and the amount of people who are upset about the name. I'm like, you know what? And again, I'm doing another shout out, and I'm shouting out these names because I hope they come onto the show sooner or later if I shut them out enough. Mm-hmm. Darren Haynes, also formerly of ESPN, who's here in the DC area, he came up with this concept of what the name would be without the leaks. Well, based upon the leaks, but without the full leaks, where we actually saw the name Commanders in the leak. He came up with this theory. I fell in love with the name Commanders with the theory that he had, and I was done then a month ago. I was already in. So if I was like, okay, if it's going to be Commanders, I'm already fine with it. I'll deal with it.
Right.
People are like, oh my God, the name sucks. Let's go down a list of other pro teams that have sucky ass names if you really think about it, right? And the thing is, the one excuse that I've kept hearing is it has a historical attachment to it. Yes, the name is not even a day old yet. It can't have historical attachment to it. My God, so if this team wins the Super Bowl, now you're comfortable with the name? Okay, I get it. But yeah, let's run down the list of names of teams with sucky ass names. The Knickerbockers.
Pants. We're named after pants.
We're named after pants, son.
No, pants. They couldn't come up with dungarees, but Knickerbockers.
No, the Knickerbockers. The Browns. You're so lazy that you just named your team after the team's owner. and they're complaining about the logo, not necessarily having a mascot for Commanders yet. What the hell is the Browns' last mascot? It used to be that elf. It ain't that no more. The dog, I guess, is kind of the mascot, but I digress. Oh, my God.
The Cleveland Guardians, named after a bridge.
Named after a bridge. Yep. The Dolphins. The soft ass porpoise. Really? The Dolphins? How ferocious is the Dolphin? Yes, I messed that up. I know. But still, the Dolphins, that's ferocious? Really, dog? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. So, a bill. What is a bill? What is a bill? It's not a buffalo.
I'm just a bill. Oh, Bill's like, remember the Schoolhouse Rock thing?
What the hell is a bill? My God. Oh.
In their defense, I think they play on the Buffalo Bill Cowboy thing in their defense, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay, well, have a cowboy as your logo then, or as the mascot. No, it is a buffalo. What is the city's name? Okay, that's really cool. Okay.
I got one for you. I'll let you finish it, but I got one for you. If you
Go ahead.
It. The Houston Texans. Gee, my golly gee. What original can we come up with? Can we buy the Oilers name back from the Titans and return the Love Your Blue Days, which I think would be awesome? No, they couldn't do that.
No, they can't do that because the Titans
are too cheap and stupid. Okay, there's that. So what can we come up with? Well, this is his quote. I'm from Houston. I'm proud to be a Texan. That's how he got to Houston, Texas.
Oh my God. The Bobcats. The Bobcats.
Thankfully, they're the Hornets again.
They got the Hornets, right?
Yeah.
Because my God, if what was his name? Bob Johnson's name was
right.
Richard. You know, if his first name was Richard instead of Bob, they would have had the fucking Dick Cats. My God. Then the Dodgers. Oh my God.
That came from Trolley Dodgers, but I still think it's stupid. But that came from the Trolley Dodgers back when they were in Brooklyn before the subway, they had a trolley.
Yeah.
So the Trolley
So
Dodgers jump out of the way and shit. Yeah.
It makes sense then, but does it make sense in LA? No. Where the hell is the lakes in Los Angeles? No. You know what? As much as this area wanted Red Wolves,
yes.
How cool really is Timberwolves now? No one talks about how cool of a name the Timberwolves is. No, because when it was okay then in the 90s, now no one talks about it. Red Wolves would have been cool for a day. All these Bama's are just little kids. They wanted to howl. They wanted to be fucking 5-year-olds at the stadium and howl whenever they made a play. Oh, really? That's what you wanted?
And how quick would that have been annoying? Like after a while, how quick would that become annoying?
Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll admit, last name's Nash. I'm a big wrestling fan. Kevin Nash, the Wolfpack. It would have been cool for me for a moment. Dude, does NC State howl after every touchdown?
Unfortunately, yes. And we still don't win much. But go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
And see, that's my
there's
point.
There's
that, right? But I've seen people say I would have taken, the Cowboys fans howling at us like wounded dogs if we were to lose to them. No, I wouldn't have. We'd have been tussling. We'd have been wrestling. You're not going to sit there in my face. I've seen Cowboy fans and how they treat us after a loss. You're not going to after a loss? No. Sleeper hold all day. But I digress about the name because the name, just like everybody hated Washington football team and talked about how generic that was. Somehow, some way, everybody fell in love with it. February the 1st, everybody was in love with it yesterday. But 2 years ago, they just had, oh my God, this is generic, this is terrible. But now you love it. Same thing will happen with Commanders. You'll be fine with it in about a year. You'll be good with it. It's just the uniforms I don't like. Well, I'll say this, right? The one uniform I do like is the white one.
The white one.
But I understand, I understand how people don't like the white one because they're complaining about the shade of the burgundy that's in the jersey. I'll say this. I understand. Okay, I'm about to be design nerd here.
You're a designer, yeah.
with the way that white fades into that burgundy, it kind of makes it look redder than what it normally does. That's an optical illusion that your eyes are playing with you. But yes, it is the same burgundy. And then, of course, we're not necessarily used to seeing that burgundy up against black. So that's why it's going to look weird to you. Yeah. But trust me, it's the same burgundy. Then it's a burgundy matte helmet. Something else that we're not used to either. So that's something else optically we're going to get used to, but yet still, they still love it. The black uniforms, the black for black's sake. Never been a fan of black for black's sake, especially if your team does not necessarily have black in the team colors. Now, they added black in there, which I kind of guess kind of counts now. But God, if we don't look like the Steelers.
I know. The yellow W
like
in the front. Yeah.
So I was slightly opposed to that, but I can deal with the white, and maybe if you give me the burgundy with the white pants, but the all burgundy on burgundy, I'm not necessarily a fan of. But I guess once I see it on the field, I'll become accustomed to it. And then the one thing that I do know about uniforms and logos, NFL teams, they tend to make adjustments with these.
Yep. Right. Yep.
Especially with Nike, they'll make adjustments. So that stuff right there, the visual stuff, I'm cool with it for now because if no one really likes it, they'll make the changes. But the name Commanders, I'll deal with. And so all of this stuff is because, and I'm most notably so, a lot of the teams or the fan bases of teams who ain't in the Super Bowl, those are the ones talking. Bengals fans ain't talking about this Commander's name. Rams fans ain't talking about it. Everybody who's at home with the Commanders are pointing and laughing when I'm pointing and laughing at you like, pass the popcorn, Bama. while we watch the Super Bowl on Sunday. How about that?
There you
And
go.
please don't lose to the team named Commanders, because I will let you know.
We'll get you, and we'll close this on this, man. We went from the exhilarating with the Bengals, right? With my local man here, the celebrations that's going on here right now, to celebrating greatness with Tom Brady's retirement, to having some fun with the Washington New Commandos nickname, to downright disgraceful.
Well, before we get to the disgraceful real quick, did you guys see, because this is kind of disgraceful too, did you see the announcement on the Today Show and how your boy laughed after Doug Williams let him know what the new team name was going to be?
I missed that.
Oh, go check it out on their website or on their social media. When Doug Williams said the new name is Commanders, I forget the black guy's name that's on the Today Show. That's not the weather guy, but yeah,
not Roker.
I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the younger guy who's actually a Chiefs fan, but he's like, after he told him that the name was Commanders, he laughed. I was like, yo, you're a Chiefs fan. Chief Commander is basically a rank.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm not going to go into it.
There you go.
Let's talk about these black coaches. Yeah, right? Let's talk about these black coaches.
Yes, please. Let's talk about this shit here. Let's close the show with something despicable. We've seen the bullshit that's going on with hirings, right? Well, Brian Flores decided he ain't taking it anymore. You know, even though it's been said that he not only may have been running for other jobs, because only half the jobs been filled, right? But I think he knows something. And he knows to the point where he's like sick and tired of this. He's tired of this shit. He's tired of dealing with it. And he's just like, you know, going scorched earth on the NFL. So basically, we all know that he announced his lawsuit against the NFL, the New York Giants, Miami Dolphins, the Denver Broncos, when he has his allegations of racial discrimination and ethical practices when it comes to hiring black coaches, right? Specifically. But there's some more stuff that came out. Like he mentioned, he's calling out names, right? He said during this time with the Dolphins, I think this past year, like the Flores said that Stephen Ross, rather, owner of the Miami Dolphins, explicitly offered them $100,000 for each loss the team suffered in 2019, rather. To the strength of the value of the Dolphins NFL draft pick. Now, if that's true, he has to go. Ross has to go because that's competitive, like, and that stabs right at the league's competitive integrity.
Yes.
He would have to go.
Yes.
He would have to go. And then, you know, when he mentioned about Bill Belichick sent him that text by mistake to Brian Dable, he got the Bryans confused.
Yeah.
He said congratulating him on the Giants. I said, wait a minute, you sure? Because I'm going to interview.
Because I haven't even been there to interview yet.
Right.
Like I'm going.
Then Belichick said that he fucked up. That was his words. He fucked up.
Yeah.
He meant to holler at Dable. So he's naming Flores is naming names. So to me, which the obvious is he knows he's not going to coach the NFL again. He's comfortable with that. It's a shame because I thought he was a good coach.
I agree.
You know, the miracles he worked in his last 2 years in Miami. After this year specifically, starting out 1-7, he lost 7 in a row and won 7 in a row to get the playoff contention.
Finished 8-1.
Mm-hmm.
With that quarterback Tua, who I don't think is the real deal. That's just me. But that's not a hero. That's another podcast. But the point being is that basically Stephen Ross, if you believe, like at the first blush, you would believe that he chose to side with his general manager, Chris Greer, who's also a brother. So essentially, he favored one black guy over another black guy. If at first blush, but if you dig deeper into what Ross has been doing allegedly, and the hiring practices around the league, which we all figured, you know, that they make the Rooney Rule a sham, which is pretty damn unfortunate. Here's the thing. As much as I want to see Flores really fuck up the league, I think it's going to register. On the scale of 1 to 10, I think it's going to register with the owners at stage 2 or 3, because they're billionaires as much as Roger Goodell, who's been trying to get them to push them into giving black head coaches a chance, and not Brian Dawkins, but his teammate Troy Vincent, who's his Goodell's number 2
right hand man. Yeah.
As much as they try to incentivize these motherfuckers to hire black coaches, give them draft picks. Now, draft picks is the real money in the NFL. We all know that. So to offer you an additional 3rd round pick, it could be a second round draft pick on top of a 3rd round draft pick, which again, that's currency, real currency. They're gonna do what they want to do. They want to hire someone who looks like them, who talks like them, who rolls like them, who feels like the same way like they do.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I mean, how do you explain Joe Judge getting the job after being a special teams coordinator?
Exactly.
How do you explain these other cats? I mean, Dan Campbell. How do you explain Dan Campbell getting a job in Detroit, fighting knees and shit? Right? That's what he said in his press conference. How do you explain that? How do you explain Josh McDaniels getting a second try? Not that the cheating in Denver, but having the coach hold the bag 2 years ago, which I guess is a blessing in disguise for them because they were able to get Frank Reich instead. But still, how does that fool get a second job? How, Sway?
How does a dude like Brian Flores lose his job?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Right? How is a dude like Eric Bieniemy not given an opportunity? How is a dude like Byron Leftwich not given an opportunity?
Oh, that's the thing, right? Because a week ago, we were kind of under the impression that he was going to be the hire in Jacksonville. Psych your mind.
Because Trent Baalke, they're not going to get rid of Trent Baalke, which is that stupid ass GM that caused Jim Harbaugh to go back to college.
Yeah.
Out of San Francisco. And you saw that Trent Baalke has a terrible track record as a GM. Yeah. But that stupid ass owner in Jacksonville who keeps shooting himself in the foot day after day after day want to hold on to him. So
yeah. I don't understand in a league that employs 60 to 70% African Americans to do the job, how you can only have one. And that's why today, I always got to wear some sort of something to represent what's going on. Today, I wore my Franklin t-shirt because that's the only black dude in all of Peanut Land. Right? This right here is the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
This is Mike Tomlin.
He's waving
right here.
too.
Right? Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm here.
One of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are 32 teams. He's one of one. I mean, I haven't broken down the numbers, but we have a Lebanese head coach. I don't think there's a ton of Lebanese players.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and say probably not. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
But and there's a Latino coach
not a ton of Lebanese players. We have one Hispanic coach. There's a few more than Lebanese, but not a ton of Hispanic players. So what you're trying to tell me is we can get one black coach, one Lebanese coach, and one Hispanic coach, and that's all we get. And that's not even 10% of the population. That's not even 10%.
Right.
Oh, I got you one better. XFL in its second iteration, USFL, and the AFL have all had more black head coaches than what the NFL has had in the past couple of seasons.
Yeah. And that's when there was one point, I want to say, I wrote it down, I forgot what it was. Was it 2014 where there were a high of 8 black coaches?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Was it 28? I forgot. 2014, I forgot what the hell it was. But we've gone from that down to 1. Down to 1. And if you look at coaches who, I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw it right back to you shortly, bro. If you look at coaches that's been recycled, the dude in Dallas, Eric Mangini, Adam Gase.
Let's bring that line
on and on. Chip Kelly. I mean, why doesn't like Todd Bowles He's Belichickian in terms of defense. He was given a crappy situation in New York with the Jets. Why not give him another shot? Why not give Mr. Caldwell,
Jim,
who got fired for going 9-7 in Detroit?
Yeah.
Why not give him another shot?
Right.
But you're going to give Josh McDaniels another shot? You're going to you gave Gates a shot. You gave Mangini another shot. You gave Chip Kelly another shot.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Also, just put other coaches out there.
You gave, and look here, as much as I love him in Cincinnati for what he's done to this point, you gave a dude in Zach Taylor who had never been a head coach in his life a shot.
A shot, yeah.
Now, obviously the Bengals came off of 16 years of a black coach, and I commend them for, doing what was right in hiring the right candidate and hiring the best candidate, and he just happened to be black. That's fantastic. Yeah. I love it. But the fact that right after that, it was, this dude's never been a head coach. The only time he's been an offensive coordinator was an interim spot in Miami after the head coach got fired for like 5 games. And then he was a terrible offensive coordinator for a year at UC. And the reason why I say that is because I'm a UC fan and I watched those games and they sucked. Let's make him a head coach.
Hey,
why didn't we call Todd Bowles? Why didn't we give Eric Bieniemy the shot? Why didn't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
People who are far more qualified. And again, I'm not taking away anything from Zach. He has turned out to be a fantastic addition. He has turned the locker room around. He's turned the culture around. All of those wonderful, positive things that he's brought to the city. But if I were a normal business and I was hiring for a CEO position, am I going to take some dude who barely ran a McDonald's, or am I going to take the dude who ran Apple, who ran IBM, who ran Dell, and be like, yeah, come on, you need to help this. You need to figure this out.
Yeah.
But you know what the bad thing is, though? It's because you have organizations like the LA Rams that did that, right? By hiring a young guy that had no head coaching experience.
Copycat league, yeah.
Copycat league, right? And was McVay hired after Cliff Kingsbury or before?
I want to say before, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah. Okay, because at least Cliff has collegiate experience, right? But he's still a younger guy. Same thing with Kyle Shanahan. At least Kyle Shanahan is coming from his daddy tree and been coaching under his daddy, but he's still one of those younger coaches. And then you had that whole crop of young coaches in the NFC West, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is working," not thinking that they also have wonderful players out there.
Byron Leftwich? Byron Leftwich, young, offensive mind, played the position and played it well.
Played it well, yes.
Helped Tom Brady. Look here, I don't give a damn what you say about Brady. Brady had 2 of his best years. One of which included winning a Super Bowl in a brand new system, and then followed by one of his best statistical years of his entire career.
Yeah.
But the offensive coordinator, who just happens to be black, can't get a shot.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They followed that pattern, and it was like, okay, let's go ahead and give these other young head coaches an opportunity. But oddly enough, it's not the young it's not the young head coaches of assistant head coaches of color. But yeah, you started running out a list of guys. Let's talk about some of these other vets that probably aren't even in the league anymore, that haven't gotten the due that they should have. Leslie Frazier.
Yeah.
Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
Marvin Lewis, Raheem Morris, Pep Hamilton, Winston
Especially
Moss.
Pep Hamilton. Yeah, Pep Hamilton.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Especially Pep. Yo, my God.
His offenses were dope.
When the Washington job came up, when Jay Gruden was hired, who also didn't necessarily have a lot of experience himself, before he was hired, I legit asked a beat writer in the area that covers the team, hey, what about Pep Hamilton as a head coach here, right? oh, he doesn't have enough coaching experience. But then they hire Jay Gruden.
Wow. You know what's
right?
You know what's really, really more messed up, guys?
What's that?
We haven't mentioned it yet, but we know about it. David Culley was hired. To run the Texans. Everyone and mama looked at that squad from the talent perspective and thought had 0-17 written all over. The fact that he got that squad to 4 wins, and even in most of the losses had them competing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a miracle unto itself. But you know what? We decided to go another direction. Even after the general manager himself said that he was appreciative of giving him the right direction, we're gonna go somewhere else. So
that's the other piece of the black coach conundrum.
Yeah.
One, we don't get enough opportunities to show what we can do. But 2, when we do get an opportunity, the lease is ridiculously short.
Right.
I mean, I know that Mike Brown is historically a very patient man, but Zach Taylor went for 2 wins his first year and 4 wins his second year.
Right.
Culley got 4 wins in his first year with no Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Right.
That part.
So Taylor was 6-25-1 and got a 3rd season. My man, without a starting quarterback, got 4 wins out of a team and can't get a second year.
Yeah.
He only had a 2-year deal. And he couldn't even finish out his deal. Are you kidding me?
It's bullshit. It's straight bullshit, guys. I mean, it is what it is, but it's straight bullshit. I mean, we know this, right?
Yeah. 1 head coach, 3 black GMs, and the amount of black GMs that have lost jobs in recent years have just been laughable. I can most definitely tell you, well, God, and then there have been situations in which black executives who were already kind of in GM roles never received the titles.
Right.
And then they would just eventually just hire someone else to take over the duties that they had already been doing. As much as I enjoy this league, I am also angered by a lot of its hiring practices as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean,
it is what it is. I mean,
it's a microcosm of America, right? I mean,
it is, right?
Look, as much as I love this country and some of the wonderful things that it does, man, we still got a long way to go, bro.
Look, it was like we came a long way, but we still got a long way to go on top of that.
Long way to go.
You know what I'm saying?
Came a long way only to regress. That
Yes.
makes it that much more entertaining. Well,
Yes.
I use entertaining in a sarcastic way. But yeah, I'm like, dude, we got to almost 10 head coaches. Now we're back to 1.
Yeah.
And these young guys that you're hiring to replace these black head coaches, guess what? They trash. They trash. And you're replacing these dudes at a high clip too.
Right.
So yeah, I just find this whole thing laughable that this happens.
Remember remember in Detroit when they replaced Jim Caldwell with old boy from New England with the pencil in his ear?
Matt Patricia, he won as many games in his entire coaching career, or maybe he just barely eclipsed that number, which was about maybe like 9 or 10, as many wins as Jim Caldwell had in his last season.
Because Detroit Lions are better than 9-7. We're not at 9-17. You're right, you're not. You're some 100%.
Y'all got to be kidding me.
That is a factual statement, sir.
You're not a 9-17, all right. You're right.
Yes, you're 3-13, Bama.
Right.
I swear.
Man, just like to quote the great Adam Shine. We all know who Adam Shine is, right? The great Adam Shine, he said, Detroit Lions still rebuilding since 1957.
You know what? I'll help him out. Still rebuilding since 1991. That was the last time they were in an NFC Championship game with Barry Sanders. Ever since Barry lost, they left. Yeah, ever since Barry left, they've been looking to retool that team kind of for like the past 30 years now, and it just ain't working.
It ain't working. But anyway, that's why America's trying to get the hell out of there. That's why Matthew Stafford think the football guys that he got that they traded the hell out of there. So,
yeah, but
Jared
Goff,
but
before we
tag it,
tag your it, Jared Goff. I swear, he might be out of there soon too.
Right.
But the thing is with the whole Flores situation, of course, it's a class action lawsuit, right?
Correct.
Which means he's going to have to get other people to come along with him in this lawsuit. And there were some people kind of scoffing at this concept, like, okay, who else is going to commit career suicide by joining him?
Right.
Hell, I can name a bunch of Bammers whose career are technically dead that would not be afraid to join him. And I just already named a bunch. Hugh Jackson already is one.
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis is another, but Hugh Jackson most definitely has already come out and said that the Browns paid him to lose games. So you already know he's on deck. He's living it up comfortably in Grambling, Louisiana. I don't know how you do that, but I'm just saying that he is. I mean, yes, that's a slight at Grambling. Take that with you, lying nigga. But yes.
The word of the day is Teddy. But go ahead.
Yes. But yes, he's living it up in Grambling right now. And he knows he's not, because he's already tried and he's haven't given another opportunity to become a head coach in the league when he could have. Yep. So he's living up in the college ranks and should have. But he's living up on the collegiate ranks. And he's like, yo, why not, right? Why not me? You know? So and there's a bunch of other guys. Marvin Lewis is another one. Pep Hamilton could be one. Dude, we just ran in a list of about potentially 5 guys already that could easily join this suit without even talking about Tony Dungy and what he might be angry about. So yeah, it's league. I hope y'all got enough money to go ahead and make sure that Flores is comfortable for the rest of his days, because we already know he's not going to get a head coaching job anywhere, but he's going to be living off of somebody's NFL salary for a while.
He could be the next head coach taking over in the HBCU.
There you go,
boy.
Let's go. Come on.
The SWAC would love it.
Come on. There you go.
The SWAC would love it. My God.
And they already said on some SWAC groups on Facebook that they a lot of them said, we would love to have him. We would love to have Brian Flores.
They would, you know.
If he wants
exactly, right? But you know, it is what it is. I'm just hoping the best for this situation. I want to applaud Flores for his bravery to do this.
Yeah. Yes.
Like he said, you know, it's not necessarily for me, but it's for those behind me, like the Eric B. enemies. Yep. And God, there's a whole list of other young black head coaches. There was a guy with Pittsburgh. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head. That's been on Pittsburgh staff for a minute. That has been overlooked. But his where is it? God, I just seen it. Terrell Austin.
Yes, running backs coach.
Yes, Terrell Austin. Coach, yes. Marcus Brady, the offensive coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts. Jerry Gray, the defensive backs coach with the Green Bay Packers.
D'Amico Ryans.
Tucker.
D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryans is another guy's name who's been tossed out there recently too. Right. So yes, this could most definitely benefit them if it goes in their favor, so that, you know, this Rooney Rule, as great as it sounds in theory, I just knew that it was going to be laughable. So that all you do is just have this grouping of black head coaches that just constantly make the rounds, only for them not to get a job.
Right.
There you go. Well said, fellas. Well said. On that note, man, let's call it. Thank y'all for tuning into this NFL edition of this Klown podcast. Please, well, first of all, thank you to our guests, bringing the heat as always. Andre Edwards, he's feeling his Bengals.
Stay sober, Dre.
One more week, brother. One more week.
There you go. Hey, if they win next week, that fool is not going to be sober for the next 5 or 6 months.
Bruh, I might make it back for training camp.
He said Mike. But anyway, thank you, Dre, man. And also continue to check out my man, Dwayne Nash, below me. His great work, the Yard HBCU Sports, theyardhbcu.com. You see on the backdrop there, his website. Also herosports.com. His great work on FCS Athletics, his plays HBCUs. His podcast on Facebook Live every Tuesday night, Sleazy Radio, SLZE Radio with his boys, the coach and Sweet Lou. Check him out there. Check out my blog, please, theclowntimes.net. Please continue to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Please get the merch at cafepress.com, search for the Clown Time Sports. All those links will be in the description in this video as they upload to YouTube tomorrow. So until next time, please stay warm. It's cold as fuck here. It's going to be snowy here tomorrow. Speaking of snowy, ice cold, right? There you go. We are out here.